Right, ladies and gentlemen, I thought I'd do a new live stream. Welcome to the video. So hopefully the quality is half decent. So let me just do a quick look at the fish. Let's get some food for the fish. They're very hungry. There's my shibunkin over there. Here's the white one. And there's the orange one. These are comet goldfish, and that's a shibunkin. As you can see, they're very hungry, and they eat the flakes quite a lot. So they like the flakes, and they're always very hungry, these fish are. So this is the Half Moon at Blagden Pond. It has 4 baskets in there. It normally comes with 2, but I bought 2 extra. And then obviously you can see how the plants have ballooned from feeding from the fish. So we've got irises, heathers, the fibre optic plant. Can't pronounce the name, but we call it fibre optic. And I'm going to have to do a bit of a clean out and refill with this, but I just wanted to show you the goldfish in here, all safe, away from a heron, so obviously they're protected. So I thought I'd give you a bit of an update before it starts raining again. So here we are. Sorry guys if you think it's a bit messy, but you know, it's one of those things. Work in progress. So what have we been doing, you might be asking? Well, I've been sorting out the tank connectors. So the tank connectors that you can see over here. Let's have a closer look at the tank connector so you can have a look at it. So here is the tank connector on the pond. I'll just, there you go, there's my tank connector. Now there's 2 school of thoughts when you're putting these in. One is you put the silicone on the back, and then you put the silicone on the front plate. However, I have seen the Pond Digger, a popular YouTuber, he doesn't put silicone on the top plate, he just puts it straight onto the liner. So both methods does actually work. However, so there have been a few comments made about the fact that I didn't put more water in when before I tacked it down. The reason for that is I made sure there was quite a bit of slack. As you can see, there's a bit of a slack there at the bottom. Now I'm just doing a bit of a test run at the moment because I need to figure out what folds are okay, what folds can I actually glue together, and that's what I'm doing at the moment. I'm just having a bit of a peruse to see the folds, you know, how foldy are they. Obviously some people have said, like many people say, you can get bacteria hiding behind the folds, so that's why I tend to glue them down after I'm happy with the positioning. So other things that I've been doing here is the retro bottom drain. So we've got it in the middle. Now if you guys remember my old pond, you may remember, but you can check in the old videos if you want to see, that basically it was sort of curved like that, and that were it. This has been expanded to there, expanded all the way to the wall, so it's a lot bigger in terms of depth. So we're getting about 1 meter in total depth in this area here. In that area where there's a little shelf, it'll be about 2 foot deep there. So that's basically what we've been doing. So in terms of positioning the retro bottom drain, I've put it in the centre. I've got some flexi hose, and I've used some amalgamation tape to hold the actual aeration cable that goes along. And it's just a flexi hose that goes round into the output section there, where we've got, quite simply put, is a rubber boot reducer, and that's it really. So that's essentially what we've been doing with the pond so far. I'm just filling it up at the moment. um, I will be emptying it back down to the level it was when I'm with it holds water and we've got no sort of leaks. In terms of those tank connectors there, the returns, we seem to be doing all right. Now, I did have someone. Let me just swing the camera back round. So I've had a few comments regarding the liner install video I've done. If you want to check out me putting the liner in, have a look at that video. Some people were saying, well, that's not the way to do it. You should put the water in first. Well, actually, there was water in the deeper section, but I wanted to get an idea of where I was at in terms of, do I need to take some of the tacks off the top and allow it to move down a tiny bit? I got that flexibility because I allowed for that eventuality, because obviously some of it is a little bit looser in certain places. So sometimes there's other ways of doing things, and that's what I've done. I've allowed for a good amount of slack in various parts of the pond to allow for any sort of stretching. However, I do have the option, just swing your back round, guys. I do have the option of taking these up. Let's say if I need, I don't know, a little bit extra. But the best solution for that sagging going off in the corners of the a sleeper or square type pond is, what you do is you put things in the corners that stops the liner stretching and getting and possibly ripping. So that's what we've done in these corners. So basically, if you've watched the other live streams and videos, you will know I put a big foam section there, big foam section here, foam section in that little corner there, right in the corner, and the same where the skimmer is. So it shouldn't stretch the liner. But if I feel that it's stretching too much, what I can do is tack this up, bring it up, and put some sand down to support the corners, because the corners are the problem, generally speaking. But I just wanted to do a live stream just to show you where I'm at the moment. All pipe work has been solved, no issues there, and I'm just doing a bit of a live stream to show you what I'm doing in terms of the setup here. So obviously we've got the retro bottom drain there, flexi hose that goes out to a Evolution Aqua variable pump. So we've got our pump here, with obviously ball valve there so I can shut it off. So we've got obviously pipe that goes up here into the surge filter, and then obviously I've got a ball valve option here to add an extra filter if we want to. So the water will come through the K1 media. Obviously, if you've not seen that before, that's a UV, and it'll come out here into the clear pipe and down. If you're asking where it'll come down to, we're going to have a filter box there. So the filter box is this over here. So I will show you me building that up tomorrow. So we'll come up with a video to show you part 2 of the filter box lined with pond armor, which is basically plastic, epoxy plastic, with some fiberglass matting, and then obviously we've got a stainless steel spillway as well. That's as solid as a rock, that. So We'll be putting our wetland filter into that and putting some sponges as well. So it's a dual filtration system, um, potentially a triple filtration system, because over here we have the bowl filter created, which is doing really well. Look at those plants. Look at how they've come along. So we've got iris, grass, and some other type of plant. I don't know what they're called, but they look nice. And they do a good job of filtering. So that's my third filter as well. So that's essentially what we've been doing. Anyone want to say anything in the comments, feel free. Something that someone said that I wanted to address. Someone mentioned, I don't know why people go for liners. Um, I have a concrete pond that I line with G4. It's never had a problem. So I wanted to address that problem, that comment. The thing is, ladies and gentlemen, concrete cracks over time. You may not see it for a while, but trust me, it will happen sooner or later. Don't believe me? Ask the pond advisor. His concrete pond has got massive cracks running through it, and it's a total disaster. So concrete isn't the best product for ponds, if I'm honest with you. Um, that's why people go for liners. The ideal thing with a liner though is you can always line your concrete pond with a liner, and then it's waterproof. Now liners typically last 20 to 40 years, which is a long time, and I think most people would agree liners are worth it. Now a lot of people go for box liners, which are great, easy to put in. You know, if you've got a square pond, box liner is the best way to go because you just drop it in and that's it, job done. With a liner though, that you're trying to sort out the folds, fold it correctly, put it in place, and trying to work it out, make sure there's no creases in the bottom. It can be a challenge, and I won't lie to you. Sometimes I feel like giving up when I put a normal liner into this setup. So we've got a little bit of work to do regarding the liner, because once I'm happy, did it go off there? Right, we're back again. Hopefully the quality's half decent. Um, the principle with the folds is the water pressure pushes them in. But what I like to do is glue them into place when I'm happy with the folds. So at the moment, I'm just seeing how it's coming together. I'm a little bit concerned, if I'm honest with you, with that back wall where the tank connector is. Let me just show you. I'm a little bit concerned because I can see the liner pulling a little bit. It's the only thing that concerns me a little bit, where the tank connector is there. So Koi, so Koi Dick says, what's your pH been like lately from the tap, mate, and what part of Yorkshire? I'm in East. I'm in West Yorkshire, and I haven't really tested the pH, but recently. But the last time I tested my pH, it was around 8. So I think it's within tolerances. But I know a lot of people have been having problems with the pH a lot, um, mainly because the water companies are like adding something to the water, and a lot of people are not too happy at the moment. Yeah, so hopefully the liner ain't too bad. I think pulling on it too much. That's the only thing that concerns me, that the water is pulling down. But to be honest, it does seem to be quite a bit of slack. I'm not too concerned about it. That's why I filled it in to start off with. Um, so, just I want to do a bit of a shout out though for uh, Stubbsy. He's got a YouTube channel. I'll put a link in the description box if you want to check his channel out. But he's in Canada, and he's had all these koi fish devastated by a heronfish. So I'd like everyone in the comments to wish him well and just say something nice to him. Just to say any sort of advice you can give would be nice. Um, so mine been all over the place lately. Koi Duke says higher than next day. They're putting CO2 in it, and it's it's gassing off, driving me crazy. I've gone from 7.2 now. I'm getting to 9 to 10. Some advice that's been suggested with that is just let it gas off a little bit and just allow nature to take its course. Remember, koi fish have survived in many harsh environments in the world, in other places, other locations. So don't be too upset over that. I think it just takes a bit of time, and your fish may adapt to it. Um, I know there's some chemicals you can potentially use to sort of improve it a little, but I think ultimately a bit of time. What you could potentially do is try and dilute it with rainwater. Now, a lot of people talk about, oh, you can't use rainwater, it's not good for your fish. Now, I listened to a recent pond YouTuber about this subject, and it doesn't really harm your fish that much. So, an option is collect rainwater when we do get some, and trust me, we probably will get some. And you could dilute your pond with some of that as well. Um, so, essentially, that's my 2 cents on the pH issue. So I don't like rainwater because of the heavy metals my pond indoor. Well, you could use obviously some conditioner in your pond, because I believe a lot of these conditioners do also do something with the metals in the pond as well. Um, but fish have survived in ponds, lakes, and they don't have roofs over those, don't they? So I wouldn't be, I wouldn't put too much thought into rainwater being a negative. Um, the only thing that concerns me, obviously, sometimes is you might get pigeons that might be dirtying some of your water. Um, and obviously, pigeon muck can be quite harmful to your fish. That's one thing. Obviously, it can be concerning. Yeah, I'm not worried about losing them, but I'm seeing behaviour changes. Um, all I can suggest, Koi Adidic, is just give you a bit of time. Um, these things don't develop overnight, do they? And fish do adapt. So I've also put in the float as well in my pond. Um, it's always a good idea to get one of these devices. These float switches. Got a float. Wiccan Koi. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, Wiccan. Hope you're having a good day. So I put in a float cut-off switch there. It's come. Well, it's not new. I got it from the old pond, and I've just put it in place. And they're invaluable when you've got bottom drains. That cuts your water off. Now, the school of thought regarding safety, regarding pumps, is you would have a pump on some bricks in your pond, just in case you got a massive leak, and it would basically cut off eventually, and you still have a bit of water in the bottom of the pond for your fish to survive. However, the pump won't be gathering all that muck because it won't completely be on the floor. Now, retro bottom drain obviously will be, and any other standard bottom drain will be. So that's something to keep in mind and think of. However, the worst case scenario, something happens and you lose all the water, you potentially could kill all your fish, because obviously they've got no water to live in. So, obviously that's one option, is to have your pump on a brick.
But a float switch is a good idea. The idea is when it goes upside down, there's a switch in the box that cuts all power to your pump, and that stops obviously the water getting pulled into your retro bottom drain. And let's say you've got a hole in your filter, um, if it cuts the power off, the pump won't work and it won't pump the water into your filter, and your filter won't release the water out of the pond. So the concept of a float switch does a good job. So I highly recommend you guys go and get a float switch if you want to safeguard your fish. They cost next to nothing. The challenge is figuring out how to wire them up. Henderson Hawk Koi, he's another YouTuber, has a very good video on how to wire those things up. Please go and check it out and watch it, and then you'll know how to put them together. So, how is this pond going to operate, you might be asking? So, well, we've got a shelf here, which is going to be 2 foot deep, where I can put all my water lilies, all these water lilies that are sort of only just sort of surviving. And I'll use, oh, hang on a minute, I'll use some of this stone as well, put some stone in as well. If you're wondering why I put stone in, it's because beneficial bacteria can live on stone, and it adds to the cycle in your pond. So obviously we've got a shelf, quite a large one, much bigger. One concern might be if the heron comes back, could it stand there? Because it will be 2 feet deep. It's possible. It's possible. It might be able to. So how are we going to negate that? Quite simply, put a net that goes over there here. It won't go that deep because that's 3 foot deep, or I think it's 1.2 meters in total depth. It is deep. So that is great for the fish. Got somewhere to go. Obviously, I'll be putting this makeshift fish cave that I've made. Quite simply put, it's a planter box turned upside down. Cut a hole, sanded it so the fish can go in and out, and holes in the top to let air escape. And that's a nice little fish cave for them to go and run to if anything happens. And I highly recommend you guys put fish caves in your pond when you've got issues, with herons. I can't go wrong with a cut off. They are a must. Certainly, that's certainly. Um, so, how's everyone doing today? How's everyone coping with the light? It's quite cold today. It's actually dropped in temperature. Just bear with me. My battery might go in a second, so give me a second to get a charger. Incidentally, guys, get yourself a power bank. These are really useful when you're doing a live stream. So just give me a minute. Right, I've just put a power bank into the phone. These power banks are really handy, guys. Get yourself one. So it'll keep the live stream going for a while. They don't cost much. I tend to go for Anchor because they're quite good quality on Amazon. They only cost you about between £30 and £50, depending on the capacity. I think I've got one that's a 10 milliamp one, and you can get a 20 milliamp one as well. And they pretty much last me all day because I'm out on the road sometimes using a sat nav. I don't have the facility to plug in the sat nav Good light then. I just realised it's the longest night of the year. So's today. Um, like the look of the lilies, but I don't like plants in the pond. I got a big gravel filter that's planted and mechanical filter from the bottom drain. I want to talk about this. A lot of people say you shouldn't have anything in the pond so you can keep it clean. I disagree with this. Let me ask you a question. Would you like to live in a padded white cell with nothing in it? Just wanted to pose that question to you. Would you like to live in an empty room with no TV, no books, let's say a mattress, um, no pictures, no magazines, no nothing, and you were forced to live in that empty room forever? And wouldn't you go mad? Even if you had a few other people in there, I think you would go pretty crazy. So this is why I think it's not a good idea to have nothing in a pond, because I think you need to give the fish something to do, whether it means nibbling on a little bit of gravel. Now, you don't have to have tiny gravel, you can have some big gravel. You don't have to have a lot of gravel, just a little bit, just to keep them entertained. Uh, I get you totally. I know it's a bit wrong, but I like my pond like an aquarium. Aquariums have gravel, don't they? In my aquarium, I've got sand. Um, Sand is very easy to clean with, um, like a gravel cleaner or use a siphoner. So sand is a good alternative to gravel, and also sand doesn't hurt the fish as much as gravel does. Um, I've got some Cory, and their whiskers are quite delicate, and gravel doesn't really mix with them very well, in my opinion. Anyway, sand's a lot softer on them. Obviously, it's not very sharp, and I think the fish enjoy the sand aquarium that I've got. So consider sand as an alternative to aggregate. Um, a lot of people have criticised my pond quite a few times when I had stones in the pond. In the original design, where it was more of a rectangle shape than it is a square like now, and a lot of people were saying, "Oh, you shouldn't put stone in your pond." Don't you realise that stone is adding to your beneficial bacteria in your pond? Now, I get you. I get you regarding having plants in your pond. The koi fish like to pretty much destroy plants. I won't lie to you. Um, I have noticed that the lily plants have lost a ton of soil, and some of the stones did get sort of lost in the bottom in the previous design. So I get you with that. Now, there is a solution to this. What you can do is you can have your pump send your water to a box where your plants would be in, and then from the box back into the pond. That way you separate your plants from your koi fish, and it allows you to keep plants, allow the plants to obviously uh, obviously take the ammonia and change the nitrates. Um, and obviously, it's beneficial to your pond having plants because obviously they consume ammonia, and that helps your pond cycle. I would highly recommend plants. You know, Lilies are quite good in ponds, in my opinion. I never had a big deal with the small fish, like eating the lilies. Not a big deal. Um, However, putting other plants in your pond can be a problem. So obviously, I have the filter box over here. Now the light is starting to get a bit dark now, but I'll show you it. The filter box here. So the idea is we're going to do a wetland filter type of design. So about here is where we'll have lots of gravel and we'll have some plants, and then here we'll have some sponges, brushes, and obviously the water going in that end. and it'll flow along there, rise up through the gravel and out through the spillway. That's how that will work. If you're wondering how I made this, quite simply, I used Pond Armour epoxy, lined it, and that's basically what we're gonna be using for our filtration. So that's more or less what we're going to be using. So I've been working on the skimmer. Hopefully you can see it's still getting a bit dark. So this is the skimmer, which is a Yorkshire Koi skimmer. Now, if any of you guys haven't seen my Yorkshire Koi pond visit video, and if anyone is interested in me doing a pond visit with you to do a video, let me know in the comments. Anyway, when I went to Yorkshire Koi's house, he had some crates left, and I cut out a few pieces. And this is the piece I took away with me, and all I'd done is siliconed it in. Now you might be asking, why didn't I just buy one of those purpose-built ones on eBay? Well, point one is they weren't cut very well. They didn't look like a professional had done it. And point two, they were asking for 30 quid. Now, you can do this for next to nothing. Literally, you need a bit of silicone and a bit of plastic, and you can create your own fish guard. Now, if you're wondering why I wanted a fish guard to start off with, one of my fish got trapped in there when it was raining, and I basically decided that I wanted to prevent any fish loss in the skimmer, because it was very cold and it was during the winter, and obviously it got trapped. There was water there, but at some point it must have just given up the ghost, and I lost the fish. So I decided that we'd stop that from happening again, and that's why we have a fish guide on there, courtesy of Yorkshire Koi's YouTube channel. Check him out. I'll put a link in the description box later on. He's got a big pond, very much like this, but a bit bigger. So at the moment, I'm just filling it up, and it's starting to get to the point where it's starting to go above the pump area. So I did want to talk about pumps, ladies and gentlemen. So pumps are not self-priming. What does self-priming mean? Well, pumps need to be underwater to work properly. They don't prime themselves with water to keep them working. So if you have a pump that's higher than water level, you will find it incredibly difficult to get it working. Now, is it possible that it will work? Yes, you can get like a siphoning effect working with the pipework that can sort of self-prime the pump, but in general, you'll have problems with getting it to work. So if you ever do want your pump to be self-primed, you need your pump to be below the water level. So that's one thing I had to change on this. I don't know if you remember the old video, but in the older pond design, my outlet for the pump was much higher up, about there. Now it's a lot lower, it's about there now. So it will get self-primed when this fills up. And I think it's almost getting to the point where the water level is getting quite high. So that's more or less where we're at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. The water is filling up, and it's just a matter of waiting to see if it holds the water, and hopefully I don't have any sort of tears with the liner, but it seems to be doing a good job. It's not a good the fact is do not underestimate the value in using this stuff. This is polyester underlay. This is used to protect your liner. So if you've got lots of rubble in your soil,
it's a good idea to use this stuff. And you might even want to double layer it if it's really bad. But it's very strong, very versatile. Now, this is sold by Owazi on eBay. So I got a load of it. I think it cost me about £60 to cover the entirety of my pond. But it is very useful. Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you can guess the litres that this pond will hold, I'll try and when I empty it out again and I refill it, I'll get a precise reading, and then I will tell you guys what the figure is, and then whoever's nearest to that figure will win a prize. Question to you guys: what sort of prize should I give away? So let's go into the garage and let's have a look. We have various things we could give away. So we have a tea, we have a bend, we have a cupola. I have a couple of these 2-inch to 1.5 inch. You can use these actually on the Evolution Aqua UVs. You know, you can touch them directly on and you don't have to use those stupid screw-in things that leak all the time. I have a few of these tank connectors. These are the ones that are designed for waste pipe rather than pressure pipe. I have this quite an expensive, hefty bend. And let's see what else we've got in here. We have a pressure elbow. We have I've got this interesting hose valve. It's not quite a ball valve as such, it just shuts the water off, but I don't think it'll give you a complete water seal, but as a temporary thing or something for outside, that'd be quite handy for someone, I think. What else have we got that we could give away? I've got a few of these, which are elbows with a hose tail already glued on. You may find that useful. What else? These are quite expensive. These 32mm ball valves with attachments for flexi pipe. I have remaining 1.5 inch ball valve. These are quite pricey though. If anyone is interested in a spare basket for your Cockney Koi skimmer, I will be able to give one of those away. And just seeing what we've got in here. I have a hose tail here, various sizes that you could use for various sizes of the pipe. This is the thing when you build a pond, ladies and gentlemen. You just basically build a selection of things you need. Here's a waste pipe elbow. Typically that would retail for about £5. So as you can see, we've got quite a bit of various things in here left over. Now I'm going to be using these special pads for some primer that I've got for sealing the folds in the liner. So if I just show you, we've got a tin of this, which is a little bit left in it, called Quick Prime Plus, and this is used to glue liner together. It's quite effective, and this is made by Firestone. Now Firestone have recently changed their name, but Firestone is still considered the best manufacturer in the world on
liners and equipment for ponds. I also have plenty of these aquarium planting baskets. I could give some of those away. Anyone interested? So yeah, we've got quite a few things I could give away in the competition. Yeah, so there's quite a few things here I think we could offer up in the competition. So I think that's it really. If anyone's got anything to say in the chat, let me know. So James Gibson says, "Hiya mate, hit the thumbs up, folks. Cheers, appreciate that, James. Quite I did it. I like it. Easy, manageable, and very few things that cause debris to gather in the bottom of the drain. And drum. Koi Addict says, I rate the performance of plants. I have a meter deep gravel filter that is planted, fed straight from the bottom, drain them into mechanical. I just not like them in it. So, life around the koi pond, nice to see you. I once had plants in my pond and had a lot of trouble with bad bacteria, so I got rid. Float switches are great. I still rate plants, mate. Whenever it comes to ammonia, you're always going to get problems with with live things. Unfortunately, um, you've done a good job with it, mate. That looks nice. Cheers, appreciate that. Here is a question for you: what you think of Ventura on water return pipes? Venturi, Venturi on water return pipes. I've never heard of that, if I'm honest with you. Ventura. Just remind me what it is, I'm not sure. Life around the koi pond thinks 8.5 thousand litres. And then Koi Addict says, nah, LOL, about 1,000. Well, I think Koi Addict, you might be a bit off with that. And life around the koi pond might be a bit overestimating it. A friend of mine said 9.6, and he didn't put any numbers in there. So I said to him, "That's about as much as 3 bottles of pop." And he said, "No, oh, I meant I meant 9,600 liters. They are great." Wiccan Koi says, "Not sure what you're referring to, Wiccan Koi. Is that the Venturi pipes? I think you were on about." I'm not familiar with the Venturi. Never heard of it really. Unless is it the gate valves you're referring to? Because I think they're sort of similarly named, like an Italian thing in it. What you think of? So if anyone's interested in where I actually got the clear pipe from, I got that from the pipeshop.com website. They're quite reasonable. Now, I did order some from America, from China, but he was being a bit of a pain in the butt, saying the £15 I paid for postage wasn't enough because it was over the size. Well, it was only 1 meter sizes, one massive. So I ended up going to the pipeshop.com. 7.5 thousand litres. I think life around the koi pond might be getting close to it. But I can't estimate it because you got that shelf. That shelf changes any sort of figures you might have in your mind and makes it a bit more interesting. Yeah, so yeah, I think there's a few good pieces here I can give for free in the competition. So yeah, these scours are really important for roughing the liner on both sides, and then you use the Primer Plus to glue them together. That's what I did in the last pond. Obviously, the newer pond is a bit more of a challenge. but it's coming along. So let me see, have we got anything else in here that I could throw in? I got a few of these 40mm pipe clips which don't fit 1.5-inch pressure pipe. You might be asking, why is that? Because pressure pipe is actually 48.3mm in outside diameter, and this is 40mm, so it's possible this might fit on waste pipe. I've got a piece of waste pipe. So that's a piece of waste pipe which is thinner walled than there's a piece of, I think that's a piece of pressure pipe, is it? No, that's pressure pipe. So if you want to know the difference between waste pipe and pressure pipe, there's your comparison there, look. You can tell that one's a lot thicker than that one is. So that might actually fit better on there than it would on there. So this is why I had a problem with these fittings not fitting. This 40mm pipe clip wouldn't fit on the pressure pipe, but may fit on that. So oh, hello Martin. Hi Paul. Are you going to put an overflow on the pond? Already got one, mate. It's a bit dark outside. I don't know if you'll be able to see it properly. The light is starting to fade, but if you've just come, this is the sort of pond where we're getting to a finished state. Yeah, I've had an overflow actually on the original pond for a while, and the overflow is in the same place. So all I did was attach this tank connector there. Can you see it? So that's my overflow there. What I tend to do is put a loose pipe in there with an elbow, and I don't solvent weld it, because if you don't solvent weld it, it allows you to twist depending on the water level, so you can get the desired place where if it overflows too much, you can twist it, and obviously that's a great thing. And if you're wondering, retro bottom drain, flexi pipe goes round to the area where the pump is. At the moment I'm testing if the water holds, having a look at how the folds are sort of working with the pressure, and I just want to get an idea if the pipe work. Obviously I want to make sure there's no leaks with the pipe work as well. Same as my overflow setup. That's what Martin says. My Venturais put more air in the pond than my previous electric compressor, and it's one less plug. If you're really wanting to put air into your pond, consider those. You can get a 12-inch air stone, and you can attach that air stone to obviously an air pump. Incidentally, I think is it Joyce Oliver? I think that lady won a competition. Lady or gentleman, I can't remember now. But I did a giveaway many moons ago, and that person won a 12-inch air stone, and apparently it's going strong even now. So I got that off Amazon. If you're wondering, just search on Amazon and you'll find them, and they're only about 20 quid. Google Venturi, you will never use an electric air pump again, mate. Right. Well, I'm not familiar with it. I will have to look it up. The air pump I have, now you have to do your research on air pumps to find decent ones. But I have this
pond, you can see that. Can you see that? This pond 1 O2 plus 4000, and it seems to do a good job. It's not powerful, I won't lie to you. It doesn't generate a lot of water, just a small stream of air coming up, but it's good enough. You don't need the most expensive one in the world, just something that does the job. Koi Addict says, yep, no pump needed. And life around the koi pond has changed his mind and decided 6,500 letters. 6.5 thousand letters. Not sure what that is about. Koi around the addict just attaches to water return and uses the water pressure to suck in air and lots of it. Just attaches to the water return and uses the water pressure. Is that an airlift system, Koi Addict? That's what Martin says. To be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, this will create the majority of the air in my pond. Basically, from the spillway, it drops into the water, and that puts the air in the pond. That is far better than any sort of air pump you can get. Just think about it. Waterfalls are what is needed to put air into your pond. So Koi Addict says, no, not airlift, pressure flow. So yeah, to be honest, I think waterfalls is the best way to go for putting air into your pond. First of all, it's free. Gravity hits the water, smashes air into the pond, and it's a more effective system than using air pumps. Martin's Koi Pond and Garden says water pulling air through. Koi Addict says yes. So life around the koi pond. What's this 6.5 thousand letters you're referring to? Do you do a lot of writing and you're thinking about the letters you're putting in your book? I remember at college you had to add up all your letters to see if it reached the limit of your essay. Do any of you guys remember that? When you were at college and you were doing essays and you had to count, get to a certain word count? So yeah, I've got quite a bit of medicine here. And it's all beneficial, obviously. So we have Pond Medic Malachite. We have Pond Medic Bacticide. We have Pond Medic Afraclavirulin, which is what most people tend to use for helping with the pond. We have Pond Medic Formalin, which is pretty good apparently as well. For aquariums, also you can use Metaflix, treats bacterial fish infections, all natural. Another aquarium one I've got here. You can use this in ponds if you want to as well. Primafix treats fungal fish infections. Be very careful with this stuff. This can be deadly in large quantities. I almost lost the fish using this stuff, and I had to take the fish out and put it next to the water fountain in the other pond to try and bring it back to life. So I almost lost the fish using this stuff. And then this is a healthy thing you can get for called Mornical Vita Spray. What you do is you spray this onto the food and then you give it to your koi. And it's supposed to give your fish a boost in terms of the internal biosystem to try and ward off parasites. So this
is just something as a little thing you could use just to try and boost your fish in terms of their ability to fight these bacterial issues. And I think that's more or less it for the medical side. So yeah. So if Martin's just come on, I've got lots of extra bits here that I'm going to do like a giveaway. And then who the winner, they can, I don't know, choose what they would like to have in their pond equipment. So what have we got? We've got I think I've got two of these 2 inch to 1.5 inch reducer rubber boots, a couple of a T bend. Got this interesting valve that's used for pipe. It's not quite a ball valve though, not 100% as strong as one of these things, which is an absolute beast. These union ball valves are a beast, and they're high quality. Highly recommend anyone thinking about building a pond use this. I did have a question for you guys though. Now they have an arrow on there for the flow. Has anyone ever fitted this against the floor and realized that they made a mistake, but it doesn't matter? Does it make a vast difference which way you install this? Let's say you install it the wrong way. Does it still work? I'm just wondering. The added advantage of a union ball valve, though, quite simply put, if you put it the wrong way around, you can unscrew it and put it the right way around. You can't do that with the fixed ball valves that are out there. So that's why a union ball valve is far better than just getting a standard ball valve. So, Koi Addict says, my return is split into 9 pipes and each has a venturi. I can keep it high in the water for air cushion or low in the water for high air and flow. It's amazing and cheap to do plenty of vids on here on it. Great prizes to choose from, mate. Yeah, you won't believe the amount of money I have spent on bloody parts and then realised I didn't need them in the first place. That's always the case, isn't it? I don't know what this lot would be worth, but I think it'd be a tidy penny, wouldn't it? Now, some YouTubers have said pressure pipe is overkill. You don't need it. Waste pipe is more than adequate. Now, some information online suggests waste pipe can last 100 years. I seriously doubt it. You know, I've had this stuff shatter into pieces when exposed to UV light for a couple of years. So I think that 100 years thing is a bit of a baloney, if you ask me. I think if, let's say for argument's sake, if you kept this covered and protected from UV light, maybe you get maybe 20 years out of it. But I can't see you getting 100 years out of that. Now, pressure pipe, just look at it. It's a thick chunk piece of plastic. It's twice, if not 3 times as thick as waste pipe. It's more denser, it's harder, it's stronger. It's going to be certainly more resistant to UV light because it's thicker. Again, I think if you was to cover this, I'd say you could probably get 40 years out of that. But let me know what you think, guys. Is it overkill to use pressure pipe on your pond? There's quite a few YouTubers in the pond design world that claim waste pipe is overkill. But I think for peace of mind, people get this and use this. And you know what? The price difference isn't as massive as people claim. If you shop around, you can get pressure pipe for maybe between £5 and £10 more expensive than you can get waste pipe, and it's a good investment, I think. So personally, I think it's a good idea to use pressure pipe. It may be overkill for your system, and it's not necessary to use pressure pipe in all instances. So, Life Around the Koi Pond says it's all to do with pressure against the seals, if I'm not mistaken. Right, I see. I think that's regarding the water flow direction. Koi Addict says it's all the little fittings that add up. You're damn right. Can be overkill, but depends on water size and what pumps are being used or bottom drain flow rate. Always better to save them. Sorry, I say. Um, well, I agree with that 100%. Let me just make sure it's not raining out here. Yes, it's raining. As usual, the waterman decides I'm going to put the tap on. Better get my camera out of the damn rain. Is anyone sick of the rain like me? Because it always seems to be pissing it down. Because a couple of days ago, I was driving back home and I thought, I'm going to do some work in the pond. The rain came down so bad, I didn't even bother getting out the So it would take a lot of pressure to crack both. Yeah. I've used household drainage pipe from my bottom drain. It works perfectly fine for me, mate. Pressure pipe all day long. It's a no-brainer. Do it right from the start and don't look back. Thinking I should have done this, I should have done that and make sure you plan everything from the start. I agree with you. Basically, my old pond, I used this stuff and I did have a few problems with the returns and I had to redo it. So, but this time I decided to do it out of this stuff. As memory serves me right, I got four 1.5 meter long tubes for about 40 quid, and that's all I needed. And I haven't run out. I've got a few bits and bobs left over. So I don't really think it's necessary to consider the pricing. I think you're just talking pennies really in the end. So unless you've got a lot of pipe that you need for your setup, just get pressure pipe. Kadik says household drainage pipe is high pressure pipe, mate. I did want to discuss that actually. A YouTuber talked about PVC pipe versus ABS pipe, and they tried to say ABS pipe is black, but the majority of what I've seen in B&Q are white, and that's used in your kitchens and your bathrooms. But ABS pipe isn't as strong as PVC pipe. So if you go on the internet and you look for koi suppliers, I recommend you get PVC. We sometimes pay the koi tax without looking into the specs of the plastic. You're right about that. A lot of these koi suppliers um, are charging quite a bit of money. But have any of you noticed that a lot of the koi suppliers are charging postage fees when others are doing free postage? So one seller might sell what you want, but want a postage fee. Another one might not have what you want, but don't charge a postage fee. Each seller is different, I guess. I just wish all the sellers would, stop mucking about with postage fees because they put a lot of people off, especially when they charge a postage fee for each bloody item. If I'm going to get this, that, this, why on earth do I have to pay £4 postage for each bloody one when it's all been sent together? So Koi Addict 33 says, and the same with the treatments. We can simply buy the chemical after realizing the ingredients. That's an interesting thing you've just said there, Koi Addict. Now, if you see my recent ponds, you'll know that in my recent pond videos, you'll know that I use pond armor for the filter box that I've built, the planter box that I've got delivered. The thing is, I reached out to the Pond Shield guy and says, "Can I use non-toxic epoxy? You know the art stuff you can buy online, and use that instead?" And all he seemed to think of was, "Well, ours is special. It's non-toxic. We recommend you only buy our products to do because it's safe for your fish." And I just felt like that was a bit of a cop out. Why can't you tell me what stuff you're using? Because I certainly believe you didn't invent the stuff. You probably got a third company making it for you. But they just were being a bit of an ass because they're based in the United States. It's not like I can just order some and get it delivered quickly and not have a massive delivery charge. So I asked, is there something in the UK I can get similar? And they didn't seem to want to help. So I thought, screw you. It's a bit shitty, really, for the company. Now, if it had some common sense, knowing that I'm a YouTuber, that I have people watching my videos, I would have thought, this is a no-brainer. This guy has made a video of our products. He's promoting our products. Let me send something to him for free. But he didn't do that. So I felt it was a bit shitty on his part. So, Life Around the Koi Pond says, all my 4-inch pipe from my bottom drain was free. I just approached a site manager and asked for some happy days. Well, you were lucky there. Have anyone noticed when you're trying to get some twin wall pipe to do stuff on your ponds? It's really expensive. You have to get a massive piece if you want to use that twin wall underground pipe. Getting an offcut is quite a nightmare. However, if you was to approach someone digging in the road, they might have an offcut they could give you. It's always worth asking. If you never ask, you don't get. So DWP Koi. By the way, DWP Koi, you have not been banned. For some reason, someone seemed to think you were banned. Anyway, anything to do with fish, mate, and you're crippled, it's the same as carp fishing. LOL. At the carp tax, it's scandalous. I'm just interested. Has anyone eaten a koi fish before with fish and chips? As fish and chips. Sorry. I just wondered if anyone's actually tried it and seen if they like it or is it not very nice. Koi Addict says, I've been in the game a while and I don't like overpaying. I'm a Yorkshire man like you, LLL. Yeah, things cost a fortune. Would you believe it that my 6 metre by 6 metre liner cost me £340? It's at 80% of Firestone liner. If I wanted 1 mil, we were talking £500. And if I was considering getting some premium, can't remember what it's called, it's rubber though, butyl rubber, I think I was looking at a price of around £700 at 1 mil thick. Pond liner is bloody expensive. So it took me a long time to save up for that liner. So think about this when you want to extend your pond. Your liner is going to cost you a load of money. Now, I did think about fiberglass in it, but apparently fiberglassing on soil is a pretty much no-no. So what I would have had to do was dig all the soil out, leave a gap underneath the uh, the patio flags, and then put like a concrete wall all the way around, and also concrete the floor. A lot of work just to put fiberglass in. So obviously we've put the liner in. Now the liner doesn't look very neat. It looks a bit more creased than my previous one, which I'm not too happy with. So what I'm probably going to have to do is empty it again and then start sealing the folds up with some stuff you can use to glue your folds. But you can also use MS 300 silicone as well to seal your folds. That's another substance you can use. Okay, I've been in the... Oh, Koi Addict says, I've tried common carp, tasted like trout, muddy potato taste. Doesn't sound very appetizing, does it? My mate put kingspan on the soil, then fiberglass. He had no issues. Well, that's an idea. You could line your soil with foam and then fiberglass over the top. That's a good idea. Board it with ply and fiberglassed it. I would recommend that you don't do that, Koi Addict. Nothing against you personally or your pond design. The problem you would face if you put wood onto soil, it would just rot over time, wouldn't it? So even if the fiberglass was strong, would it not like weaken the structure eventually? Because that wood would eventually fail. This goes back to the MS300 liquid stuff that's been developed, and someone's put it onto OBS, I think it was. And what a lot of people were saying in the koi community is that's not a good idea because that wood will eventually rot. And the problem with wood is it expands and contracts with heat and the weather, and there's a good chance you'll develop cracks. Now, the fiberglass is a different story because once you've got your fiberglass down, it should be relatively strong. So it's just the supporting structure would be a bit of concern. Koi Addict says, no, you put kingspan on soil, then board on top and the walls, then fiberglass. Right, that's different. That's different, Koi Addict, because your insulation is protecting the wood. So that's a good idea. Well, let me tell you about the walls here. This is my converted garage. If I've shown you this before, it's a bit of a mess in here because with everything going off, but I'll sort this out because we've got this nice pool table here. But this is a concrete panelled Apex garage, and I put 40mm insulation behind the wood, which is on the concrete panels. As you know, concrete it holds moisture, and it would certainly do something to the wood. So obviously, I aligned it with Kingspan insulation board, and then we put our plywood on top, and touch wood, it hasn't hasn't rotted yet, and it's been there a few years now. I even installed this nice window. Did a good job with that window, don't you think? Originally, it was a pane of glass, and that wasn't very friendly for insulation. So I got rid of it and bought this one off eBay. And as you can see, you can look over at pond, having this window open and shut. So, yeah, that's a little thing I installed, and it does a good job. I also installed this door, which folds. Let me just show you. This door folds like so and shuts. And then what I did with this wall here is it's quite thin, that insulation, sorry, that wood, but behind it, basically polystyrene sheets that thick, which insulate the garage door and keeps the garage reasonably warm when I put heaters on. It's nowhere as warm as a house, don't get me wrong. It can feel quite chilly in here in winter, but I do have heaters in here, and it does get quite warm when I put the heaters on. So yeah, this is my pool room. Haven't played anything for a while because I've been busy with pond. But yeah, that's more or less what I've done in here. So Koi Edit 33 says, it may fail, but 3 years is now with it. Sorry, that's how long it's been running. I don't think your fiberglass will fail. Your wood might rot, but not for a long time. But if you've got polystyrene or insulation under as a barrier between the soil and the wood, I think you'll be all right for some time. And obviously, it's just a temporary measure in it while you get the fiberglass in. Fiberglass is expensive though. A lot of installers out there charge a lot of money for it. So, Life Around the Koi Pond says, was there a reason why you didn't go with a bottom drain on your pond? In my opinion, retro bottom drains are good, but the pipe work in the pond is a bit unsightly. Yeah, you got a point. Life Around the Koi Pond. But it's something I have to live with. Putting bottom drains in is a lot of work, as you probably know, and it would mean digging out more soil. And I sort of maxed out what I could get into the skip. So I had a retro bottom drain before, just reused it. Retro bottom drains are pretty good. They do get clogged up with algae from time to time, but the thing I can do that you can't do with a bottom drain is I can pull out the retro bottom drain out and clean it and then put it back in. You can't do that with one that's built into the actual ground. And I remember a YouTuber called what's his bloody name? I can't remember now. He keeps saying something about the rabbits all the time. Anyway, he spent about 20 grand on a new pond, didn't he? And he were having bacterial issues with his bottom drain all the time because obviously he couldn't get down and clean it. That's the thing you can do with retro bottom drains. You can clean them and sanitize them if you want to. All right. Koi Addict says, all fiberglass guys will say it looks easy, but don't do it yourself. LL. It is easy practice for a week on small pieces and you'll be able to do it. It took me 3 days planning to get confident with it. Well, remember Jamie keeping it coy? Quite funny, really. He made a right cock up of it and had to get a professional to come in and fix it, what he done. To be honest with you, the problem people make with fiberglass is they try and do it all in one go. I would recommend you do it in stages, little bit at a time, and that way you get a good job done. I think what it is people try and do a large pond in a short space of time and they make mistakes. The best thing to do is take it slowly at your own pace, but do it in sections. Don't do it all in one go. Um, I think is it GPR Lining gives some really good advice on fiberglassing. He does videos on it all the time, and he knows his stuff. And I would recommend watch his videos if you want to learn about fiberglassing. Um, but fiberglassing is an art in itself. I won't lie. Um, you may have seen my box filter video where I actually did a bit of fiberglassing myself. It's not using the fiberglassing epoxy. I used a resin epoxy with fiberglass matting to waterproof that filter box. It was a new project. I used Pond Shield to do that, but I incorporated into the design, used some offcuts, some pieces of fiberglass matting in the design. And now that filter box is now nicely waterproof and ready to be used as a filter. So it's almost fiberglassing, but it's using a different material to normal fiberglass epoxy. Um, so let me see what's been said. Um, so Koi Addict 33 says, same with resin floors and a drive. I did my own. It's all easy if you try. You can't say bottom drains are a lot of work and put potential pond builders off from fitting one. A bottom drain should be fitted at the start of the build. Retro drains are just a cheap get out. Um, the thing is, whenever you cut into a liner, you always introduce the possibility of a leak. So the less holes you put in your liner, the better. Um, DWP Koi said it's the same as fitting a skimmer at the start and don't have a cheap bit of junk floating around the pond. Um, I can understand why people don't want to build a proper skimmer and they like to buy one of these in liner um, designs you can get from like the likes of Awazi and what sort and Superfish and that sort of thing. Um, because then you're not cutting holes in your liner and you're not building something. You just slot it into your pond and it's set up easy, quick and easy. But yeah, some could argue and say that's being lazy, but each to their own. Koi Addict says, my first pond was just made of concrete blocks and sealed with rubberized paint. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people talk about the rubberized paint. How is that? Is that quite decent? A lot of people use the G4, but the problem with concrete is it cracks. Now, it doesn't matter how good of a builder you are, concrete will always crack no matter what. You know, even concrete ponds that are like 2 foot thick walls will crack over time. But it depends on your area as well, where you live. And is your area prone to earthquakes? Earthquakes are devastating to concrete ponds. Life Around the Koi Pond says, I can purge it and had a retro bottom drain for a long time. My fish did flash against it and did damage themselves on it. There's no damage on the bottom drain dome. Yeah, that's true. But I've gone for the low profile pipe work, and I don't think it's an issue. But as a safety measure, I have gone to all the Jubilee clips and put amalgamation rubber tape over the Jubilee clips to prevent them hurting themselves in any way, shape, or form on anything on the bottom drain that could potentially happen. Koi addict, it never failed me. I just moved house. It worked well, but cost me about £200 in paint. Yeah. Did you ever consider using that G4 concrete sealer? Um, I know people rate it and think it's great, but like with all paints and stuff you put on concrete, eventually it will fail because concrete is porous and it sucks the life out of anything you put on it. So what you tend to have to do is prime the concrete first with a substance that stops the porous properties of concrete from absorbing the liquid. So then when you paint over it with a substance, I would certainly recommend you don't use a pond paint if possible. Use a rubberized type paint material instead. DWP Koi says, couldn't think of anything worse than seeing ghastly, unsightly pipework in my pond. Well, pipework ain't a major deal. It's not. Um, well, let's face it. It's right on the bottom. You're not going to see it that often, and over time you'll get algae growing on it anyway, and you probably might not even notice it. Koi Addict 33 says, I've not heard of it. I use the Impermax. G4 is quite popular actually. Just go on eBay or Amazon and check it out. A lot of people swear by it. In fact, someone commented on one of my last videos that I did, not my live streams, my video, regarding me putting the liner in. If you haven't seen that, check it out. You get to see me putting a liner in and actually doing me head trying to put the damn thing in. But yeah, someone left a comment that says, I use concrete and I use G4, never had a problem with it. Don't like liners, and the folds look unsightly, and I'd hate. I don't know why people use liners. Well, liners don't crack, unfortunately. Um, you know, even if you puncture a liner, you can repair it. With a concrete wall, if a massive crack appears from nowhere, your pond is pretty much naffed, and you need to empty it and repair it somehow. Um, that's a problem. Like I was saying, concrete ponds are a massive challenge, and this is why I didn't want to build my pond out of concrete. And there's one thing that not a lot of people talk about. When you move house, can you take your concrete pond with you? Just in the comments, just tell me, if you were to move house and your pond is concrete or block, can you take it with you? So in the comments, answer me it. Yes or no. Just put Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comments. Can you take your concrete pond with you when you move house? So Koi Addict says, I've not heard of it. I used the Immerprex. Oh, I read that out already. I got fiber now, and this will be my last pond. I'm not moving again. I'll die in this house. LOL. That's a bit morbid. Don't have to say that, mate. Um, I, I, I got it how I want it now, and I got my main pond, good 6 foot grow on and a meter square quarantine pond. I'm not sure why people get these grow on ponds. Is it not possible to put a net inside your main pond and put your fry fish in there? Is that not possible? Um, or I don't know, get a fish tank, put it in your house, and use that instead. Um, just my 2 cents on that. Not sure why people get a second pond in it a massive expense. I know Telford Koi he's got like a new growing pond. It's like one of these fancy things with a window. Must have cost him like £2,000 to buy it. And I was thinking, don't forget, you've got to filter it, got a filter on it, do all the pipe work, UV it. It's a lot of bloody money in it. Might as well. It's like having another pond. Um, would it not be easier just to dig a hole and put a liner in and use that as your grow on thing? Just just my 2 cents on that. That's all. Um, let me know, guys. What do you think about that? Right. Koi Edit says, I like my main pond as it's my personal collection. My grow on earns me money and allows me to pay with. I think that's food you're trying to talk about. I was wondering about this. Do you any of you guys have a business in terms of fish? And do you make much money from it? So Koi Edit says also for my fry. I did want to ask a question for you guys in the koi community. Do you find it hard to get pipe fittings that fit and fit correctly? Because I've bought a lot of things online, and a lot of the things I've bought don't fit. Wrong size, dimensions are wrong, or they quoted the internal diameter, outside diameter didn't quite fit. Uh, so Wilkin Coy says yes, and just getting started in the business. Okay. Life Around the Koi Pond says I could have built my pond over 100 feet long with the design. That's why I built it out of wood. Well, that's the thing. Why did I build my pond out of wood, you might be asking? When you move house, or if you move house, you can disassemble it and take it with you. Quite simple. You can't do that with block. You're pretty much knackered, aren't you? And I know quite a few people out there who sold their house, and the person came along and said, I don't want that pond in the garden. I will buy your house if you fill in that pond and get rid of it. So you may have spent a ton of money on a pond that you've literally can't take with you. Now, if you build your pond out of sleepers, build your pond out of wood, guess what you can do? You can unscrew the bolts and take it with you to your new house and rebuild it. You could even take pictures or videos of it. You could even label each part with numbers on the sleepers so you know in what order it goes together. And then when you get to your new house, rebuild your pond, and there you are. You've still got your pond and you haven't wasted a ton of money getting rid of it. Now, I don't mean to be negative or criticize anyone that's got a concrete block pond, but just think about it. You can take your pond with you if you move. Now, if you're not going to move and it's your permanent house and you have no intentions in building another pond, and trust me, there'll come a time where you'll think, that pond, I would like it a bit bigger. What can I do to make it bigger? Thing is with concrete, it's a bit hard to extend it, isn't it? Sleepers, you can easily just add a piece of wood and make it a bit bigger, like I have, you know. Granted, I've done a bit more than just make it a bit longer. I've basically spent £160 on a skip and got rid of a lot more soil to make it expandable, expanded the size. Basically, it's like a swimming pool. Well, not a swimming pool, but I'd say a bit like a jacuzzi, you know, a spa bath or something you might have in your garden, or a tub, hot tub or something. So when it gets warm enough, I could sit at the side of the pond and just dangle my feet into the pond, or even wade into it and just chill out on some of the big shelves. Um, You know, this is the thing with swim ponds. People like to get a swim pond, don't they? So let's have a look. What are the comments? So just going back to life around the koi pond, he says I could have built my pond over 100 feet long with the design, and that's why I built it out of wood. You can always extend it, can't you, and make it bigger if you want to. And don't think you want to make it deeper though, because I think your pond is massive in comparison. I think you could even swim in your pond, couldn't you? I earn around 4.5 thousand a year, covers the bills with a bit of money left over for days out with the grandkids. That's not a bad earning, is it? Now, I have thought about opening a koi shop in my garage. I've got a little bit of room. I could do it. I could even fit. If I was to get rid of the pool table, I could really turn this whole garage into a shop, couldn't I? Um, I've always thought about these things. Let me just show you. These things here. People buy the wrong things all the time, don't they? Wouldn't it be nice you could go to a place that had tons of fittings and you could test to see if it fit, rather than rely on technical data or rulers or tape measures. You could just pop to a place and think, right, I need an adapter. So I've got an adapter here. Hang on. I need an adapter for some pipe, but I'm not sure on the size. Will it fit or won't it fit? Now, can I get my hose tail screw in to fit into an adapter? So let me just unscrew it. Hang on. So you go to a shop because you don't know what you're buying online because the information might be wrong. You've bought things in the past that are wrong, sizes don't fit, and you think, right, I've got this screw-in hose tail. Can I find something to screw it into? Like so. Well, that screws in there. So that fits. So I've got something that fits, and then I can screw that into my pump maybe and bring my pump and see if that screws onto my pump. And this is, I think, where a lot of online retailers fall down because half the time they're giving misleading information, they're not clear enough, not precise enough, and sometimes going to a physical shop to see if something fits is the only way to see if it fits sometimes. So that's something I think a lot of koi dealers don't understand. People don't understand inside diameter, outside diameter, 40, the difference between a 43 millimeter and a 40 millimeter pipe, or you have imperial and you have metric, different sizes. People get so confused on the different pipes. You've got waste pipe, and then you got obviously pressure pipe. Your waste pipe has an outside diameter of 43 millimeters. Your pressure pipe has an outside diameter of 48.3 millimeters. This is really confusing for the novice, and I think you are better going to a koi dealer that has a massive array of fittings. Unfortunately, I have been to quite a few koi dealers, right, who sell koi fish, and their fittings are appalling, terrible. Yeah, like I was saying, some of the selections of fittings, like there's a place in Huddersfield, right, near B&Q, on off Leeds Road, right. I can't remember what the company's called. Their fitting selection is absolutely abysmal, terrible. I, they've got nothing there. Any of you guys heard of a Maidenhead Aquatics? They basically a koi supplier. They have lots of products in, but again, their fittings are appalling, terrible, hardly any sort of selection. So then you're forced to go on eBay or Amazon, and then you quite often end up ordering the wrong bloody thing. And then it turns up, and then you have to send it back at your cost, your postage cost, and then end up getting refunded. And this all takes long periods of time, doesn't it? And it can be quite annoying for people. So I tend to stick with Amazon Prime because at least I can send some back for free at no cost, just in case the damn thing is the wrong size. And even if it costs me a little bit more money, that's the only way of dealing with this issue. But imagine if you could go to a physical store and test these things to see if they fit. And I think that's where a lot of koi dealers are falling down. And um, I think a lot of these koi suppliers need to be having a vast array of parts. Now, I can quote quite a few places that have a decent supply. Like there's the koi supply shop in Garforth, Leeds, just next to the garden centre. They have a reasonably largish selection of, um, fittings. I believe Japanese Water Garden in Nottingham. Lee, who runs that place, he's got a YouTube channel as well. Check him out as well. He has a vast array of, you know, um, he has a vast array of fittings. In fact, a massive array from what I can see, and that's good. And anyone who is a supplier of koi parts, um, I recommend you stock lots of parts for people. It just helps the new person figure out what sizes are what. Will my parts fit? What do I need? Will this part fit that part? Do I need a coupler, or do I need an elbow or a bend or a T, or what type of ball valve do I need? What size of ball valve? There's various sizes of ball valves. Is it a gate valve I want? Is it a ball valve I want? Is it normal ball valve I want, or should I get the union ball valve? There are so many different parts that can be so confusing for a new beginner in the koi world. So all I would say to someone who's got a koi shop or something, so, get a vast array of selection. So if someone comes, they know it fits. Even if you've got one of each, it gives the new person who's trying to work out his pipes what should fit and what doesn't fit. So I just wanted to point that out, ladies and gentlemen. Um, um, so let's see. Have a look at the comments. See if there's any new comments. Lots of things have been talked about. Uh, yeah, so lots of things have been talked about, such as the microscopes. Yes, getting a microscope is a good idea. Has anyone got a different type of microscope? Different. You can get those USB ones. Are they any good? Or do you recommend a proper microscope? Um, he does this every year. It still surprised me. LOL. Yeah. Stubbsy had a problem, didn't he, with a heronfish, and I think he lost some shabunkins as well. But I think can't remember his name. He's got a koi farm, and I think Vince was helping him with his fish, and I think he lost a ton of fish because of the air issue. Not enough air was getting into the pond, and I suspect the reason all those fish died was because there was no air, but also I think it was probably overpopulated because there was a filter system running which would put air into the pond anyway. I suspect the reason for losing all those fish was because not enough air was getting into the actual system, and it probably was overstocked, if I'm honest with you. I think an understocked pond, even if it's for business use, the fish would have survived if it wasn't so overcrowded. A lot of them just cater for easy pod fittings as they're not why they selling. A lot of them, sorry, Koi Addict says a lot of them just cater for easy pod fittings as that's what they're selling. Yeah, a lot of people though have different filter systems, different pipe systems, setups. They might have a different type of pump. They want to have an adapter that goes onto that pump, where a standard adapter would not fit. And I think having a vast array of parts is helpful for anyone just to go and have a look and see will it fit. I had to do that with my Jabo pump. There was a place open in Brighouse, right? And they had a large supply of parts, you see, and I couldn't figure out what part to screw into my Jabo pump so I could attach something to it because I wanted to dry mount it. And I couldn't figure out what would fit. So in the end, I went to the shop and just tried all the different parts on the pump until I found one that fit. Um, and sometimes I think it's the only way of finding out is to test it with your hand and see if it fits or not. Because there can be a massive difference between 1, 2, and 3 millimeter. And you might not know the difference, but one part might fit perfectly, where another manufacturer's part might not fit and might be too loose. So obviously you can negate that a little bit with PTFE tape. That's plumber's tape by a little bit, but so it might not the difference might be too much for the tape to handle. So sometimes just trying it by hand is the only way to see if it'll actually fit. So just be mindful, and not everyone's tolerances are the same. One manufacturer's tolerances may be different to someone else's tolerances. So William Coy says well water. And DWP Coy deleted a message for some reason. Don't know what he was saying. Koi Addict says, I bet it is Wigan. Wican. I got 12k liters and I'm having to heat it, cooling down. And I wouldn't know where to start other than a separate water source from under the ground. Maybe we can. Well water. Um, Another option for you guys is have lots of water butts in your garden attached to the roof, and and that's another way of storing lots of water. I've seen lots of people do that successfully, having lots of water butts being filled up by the rain. We get a lot of rain in the UK, don't we? Might as well use it somehow. It's free, isn't it? I have 2 wells. It's just moving water. DWP Koi says, big up Cotswold Koi. If anyone needs anything, give them a call. If they haven't got it, they can point you in the right direction. Wigan Koi says they lost power. Koi Edit says life around the pond. I went when I was younger and I was raised in Headden, just near Hull. There's a nice YouTuber called Humber Koi. Check him out. He's presumably near Humber in Hull somewhere, and he has a lad. He gets involved in the YouTube world, and it's nice to see youngsters coming to the channel. Koi Addict 33 says his fish are bloody amazing. Now, here's an old name. Hey, I had a bit of a problem with this guy. Gary Webb. DWP Koi, right, says Gary Webb or Caroline would point you in the right direction. Their knowledge was second to none. Um, Having knowledge and having wisdom are two different things. Unfortunately, Gary didn't have wisdom but had knowledge. And unfortunately, he was quite horrible to some people and did some things I wouldn't say was a good thing to do. In fact, a bit creepy at times. Um, and you don't have to ask me about that. Just check out Gaz's Koi Pond YouTube channel. He got a few videos up on it where apparently Gary was talking to a youngster to who was talking to Gary about things, asking questions. This person was, let's just say, vulnerable, and I don't think it was clever for Gary to do the things he was doing. I can't really go into the ins and outs, but I'm sure if you go onto Gaz's Koi Pond YouTube channel and look at those videos, I think they're still there. Um, and make your own mind up. Don't listen to me. Don't take my opinion. But you might want to watch those if you want to consider Gary Webb as the greatest person on the planet regarding the koi industry. He's I'd say he's a toxic person because on the one part, on the one side, he seems to know a bit about ponds and building ponds and fish, and he knows stuff, and he helps people sometimes. But on the other part, he can be quite mean to other people, and he's upset a lot of people in the YouTube community. Um, he even called me a retard on a voicemail message, all because I was trying to promote his YouTube channel to get more subscribers. Now, if you can't accept help from someone who wants to help you and develop and reach the magic 1,000 subscribers, and you can't accept that help, there's something wrong. So I just wanted to explain that I know DWP thinks he's the greatest person on the planet, but there's a lot of people out there who don't. Um, so Wiccan Koi says, I do that, but when water tank goes up in the pond, it does, and the tanks also. Yeah, I know Humber well. He lives in Albury, and his lad Leo. So Humber Addict, do you live near him then? DWP Koi says, utilizing rain. LL, we've had rain from September to May, another month, and they will be saying there's a drought and the reservoirs are empty. This is the thing about the reservoirs. I'm going to be blunt with Yorkshire Water. Build more. You know, our system was built in the Victorian times, right? You know, there is loads of quarries in the UK that are disused that could be repurposed as quarries. Um, it's a no-brainer. They've already been dug massive holes, stick a load of water in it, it should hold it, and use it. We need to rebuild reservoirs. And also, Yorkshire Water, you need to stop bloody having pipes that burst all the time and then waste all that water, you know. Um, so Koi Addict 33 says, you going to national? Whatever that means. Not sure what it means there. You going to national? Or is that the national horse race? Koi Addict 33 says, I'm about 30 miles from him, not far. I'm at the beach, he in the countryside boundary. You lucky sod at the beach. However, that can be a problem, can't it? What about coastal erosion? Will your house fall into the sea? You know, this is a lot of people would love a house by the sea, right? But the reality of it is, because of coastal erosion, you could lose your house into the sea, and then you're screwed, aren't you? So that's something to think about, isn't it? Um, oh, the National Koi Show next weekend. Um, does anyone get sick and tired of people showing pictures of fish in on YouTube channels, and all they do is talk about this Japanese fish? Oh, it's 56 centimeters, and oh, this Japanese fish, it's 20 centimeters. And for a lot of us, it's just enjoying the fish swimming around. Who cares whether it's Israeli, Poland, UK, or Japanese? If they look nice, who cares? You know. Sometimes it sort of annoys me where people and these YouTube channels are looking at their fish and look how it's got a nice colour to its head, and oh it's got a nice body to it. Look how it's swimming, and it's grown to 40 centimeters or something, and it's like, yeah, well, it's a fish in it, you know. I'd rather talk about building ponds and the filtration and the parts that you need, what are the best parts, what type of food is good or not, how do you medicate your fish. I think we'd all prefer that sort of discussion, won't we? Uh, so, Life Around the Koi Pond says, it's the crud in the pipe work that bothers me to do with Yorkshire water. Hmm. Yeah, I just wish they stopped digging up the roads. Uh, Koi Addict says, nah, I'm safe. LOL. Wiccan Koi says, just deal with the second generation American Koi. That's interesting. I wonder what the American Koi look like. Probably not much different. You know, everyone rates about the Japanese koi fish are the best and all this, but I don't think it's that much of a deal. Koi Addict, no, LLL. This is exactly my edition. But I get your feeling on it sometime, just keeping them and some love, the breeding and the raising side. Life around the koi pond says the less amount of netting, the happier my fish are. You could get a window, I suppose. They're the same. Wiccan Koi says, I'm obsessed with NND. I take it that's not a drug. NND. Um, just trying to pull same quality, Wiccan Koi says. Yeah, well, the thing is, everyone likes the koi industry for different things, different reasons. Some like enjoy the filtration, the technical side. Some enjoy just watching the fish swim around. Others enjoy the whole idea of pond building. You know, what's the best way of building a pond? Should it be block? Should it be liner? Should it be circular? Should it be oval? Should it be square? Should it be rectangle? Should it be out of sleepers? Should it be out of blocks? Um, should it be just an in-ground pond? You know, there's so many factors to building a pond. Where my knowledge base comes from is the building of a pond, really, such as the aquascape methods. Know all about that. And incidentally, ladies and gentlemen, aquascape don't fill their ponds up with water before they put their rocks in. So if anyone starts criticising me, hang on a minute, I better make sure my. Hang on a minute, I've got a problem there, haven't I? Let's just turn it around. Hang on. Damn it. Better turn the water off. Just trying to get the light to come on. Come on, daft light. Right, light. Bloody hell. It's full. Look at it. It's actually full. I know you can't see this, guys, but the water is full, and my overflow is working. Can you see that? I don't know if you can, because it's dark. Better turn the damn tap off, eh? So this is the maximum water level it's got to, because of the overflow. So the maximum level with the skimmer is there. It's about there. Now I can raise that a little bit by putting a overflow pipe, like Martin said. You know, with a bend to make this come up a bit more. But I know you can't see much because it's dark. I'm just going to turn the water off. Well, at least it's full. I don't think it's pulling it too much either. So I might just leave it overnight and see how it does. But yeah. So maybe I'll have a look tomorrow when it's lighter. I wonder if I can turn on the light. That's the overflow. I don't know if you can make it out in the video because it's quite dark. I can turn the lights on though. This is a solar panelled light if you're wondering. Right, turn the lights on. So you can actually see into the pond with these lights that I put up here. These solar panelled lights. So you can actually see into the pond. The lights actually show what's in there. So that's just a brief little look. So, well, at least the water's holding, and it's a good test for the pipe work, this. And thank God the damn pipe work isn't leaking. But I'll have to have a look in the morning because obviously it's dark. So lots of comments have been made. Just trying to see what's been said. Unlike certain YouTubers, I like to actually read your comments out. But it's a bit difficult on a phone. So, got up to Koi Addict. I'm about 30 miles from him, not far. I'm at the beach. National Koi Show next weekend. We've said these things already, haven't we? Koi Addict No, LLO is exactly my addiction. Um, just trying to pull the same quality. NND is a breeder, Danchi in Japan. It's all I buy and raise and sell. So Koi Addict sells good quality products, it would sound like. And if you've got some reasonably priced stuff, I might be interested. I do think some people do charge over the top sometimes. Life around the koi pond, I'm on about netting in general. The less stress and fish, the better. Um, DWP, they are saying like a fish out of water. Just imagine how the fish being out of water feels. Saying people are net touch fish mad. Just leave them alone, feed and enjoy them. That's what it's about, isn't it? Really? Koi keeping is a journey, and eventually it takes most of us to Japan breeders where we get to know more about that what we look at. Weekend Koi says my personal pond is a water feature with walls, a pond, and a stream. You know, streams are lovely. I started out with Israeli and Polish koi and then started seeing what NND was producing with the jumbo line of Oki and I was obsessed with them. Sounds great, Wiccan Koi, Life Around the Koi Pond says. Koi Addict says Wiccan. Wiccan Koi says a lot of work but will be my zen place. DWP Koi says, haven't you got anyone local to give you a hand with your pond? Koi Addict says, you got a lot of land, Wiccan. I just got 1.5 acre. You know what? It is really nice if you've got a massive garden where you can put a pond in. The question is, how big do you want it? Do you want a lake? Because was it Daz? Um, is he's got pretty much a lake in his garden. Yeah, I have a big place. Wicken Koi says actually two places. One is 40 acres. Wow, you have got a lot of land. Wiccan Koi says, no, sorry, Koi Edit says, Wiccan did something right in life. Uh, Wiccan Koi says, other is about 5 acres. Life around the Koi Pond says, I look up your channel, guys. Lots of work, aircraft engineer in previous life. So he's obviously earned a fair amount. Koi Addict got a few shower at 27 at £150 and Phrygian Teco excavator driver myself, life around the koi pond. Hey, so you're not Bart Simpson, are you? Life around the koi pond, where he decided to become a wrecking ball driver when he growed up. Um, Off subject, I was wondering if any of you guys can help me out. Um, if you had a family member who wasn't well but refused to go to hospital, would you obey their wishes or would you drag them to hospital? Let's say it's a really serious issue that needs to be dealt with. And let's say they were talking about dying when, they're not that bad. What would you do? Would you drag them to hospital or would you let them just get on with life and then get worse and worse? What would you do? I'm just wondering because been having a few family issues and I'm just wondering if any of you guys what advice you would offer. Anyway, that being said, I think it's getting quite late now, but I want to say a big thank you to everyone that's come to the stream. There's been lots of things said, been really interesting listening to your comments and what we've been talking about. Um, my next project for the pond is going to be looking at it in the morning to see if it's held the water. is it doing a good job? I'm not going to leave it like that though, because I'm going to empty it. Um, but good news is the uh, the the overflow is working fine, no problems. Anyway, I'm going to get something to eat because it's getting a bit late now, and just want to wish you all well. Have a nice day, or what's left of it, and a nice weekend. It's probably going to be a scorcher tomorrow, so make sure you put some sun cream on. And thanks for watching, and have a nice day. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.